Elçin Sangu's candid words about Barış's Arctic have set the internet buzzing, and trust me, it's not what the rumor mill expected. No cold shoulder, no lingering upset, just respect, warmth, and a partnership that keeps pulling the audience deeper into Eşref Rüya. Welcome to Secrets Behind the Stars. If you're into real talk and behind-the-scenes truth, hit subscribe and stick around, because today's story is a full-on deep dive into how Elçin and Barış are shutting down the whispers with class and a calm that only true professionals carry. Here's how it all went down. Last night, Elçin faced a wall of microphones at a chic industry gathering. The questions were sharp, all circling the same subject. Were she and Barış on tense terms? For weeks, social media had been crowded with speculation, murmurs of distance, talk of an on-set clash, the usual snowball that forms when two magnetic stars carry an intense series on their shoulders. Elçin listened, smiled, and delivered a clean sweep. She made it crystal clear there's no gap between them, no grievance tucked away, no chill in the air. She talked about how happy she is to be in the same project as Barış and how much she absorbs from his approach to the work. In one breath, she both praised him and gently pushed the gossip out the door. She didn't stop at that. Asked about the overall atmosphere on the Eşref Rüya set, Elçin painted a picture the crew has hinted at for months. A team that arrives on time, stays locked into the scenes, and truly values the craft. She described a group of people who have become more than colleagues, people who hold each other up when the hours get long and the emotional weight of the story gets heavy. If you've ever watched a production come together, you know that harmony is a luxury. And yet, behind the intense scenes and back-to-back shooting days, that's what they've built. But the internet is never satisfied with smooth sailing. As soon as her words hit the timeline, some were skeptical. Why so many compliments? Why repeat the same note of admiration? Were we hearing a simple professional nod, or did it reflect something deeper? The thing about Elçin is that she rarely over-explains. She chooses words like a measured actor hits marks, precise, controlled, but infused with feeling. And still, once she started speaking about Barış, she found herself circling back. She described him as an intensely disciplined partner, someone who treats every beat like it matters, someone who carved out an astonishing character this season. It was not a dry statement, it carried warmth and a trace of awe. Let's place this in context. Eşref Rüya has become a weekly ritual for a huge audience. It trends the night episodes drop, and clips spread across timelines at the speed of a spoiler. In the center of it all are two characters who could collapse under the pressure if the actors weren't locked in together. Nisan, brought to life by Elçin, is tough as glass and just as fragile at the edges, the kind of woman who faces storms and then closes the door and allows herself to tremble. Eşref, embodied by Barış, is a man haunted by the shadows he thought he'd left behind, a figure trying to make his heart and his history live in the same room. When you're playing love and loss and secrets this big, trust between partners isn't optional, it's oxygen. And that's what Elçin's interview communicated most. They breathe the same air when the camera rolls. If you've been watching closely, you've noticed the last few episodes feel almost cinematic. The silences are full, the gazes are loaded, and the tension comes like a tide that refuses to pull back. There's a fluidity to their rhythm that only happens when co-stars are aligned off-camera. It's the kind of synchrony you can't fake, the understanding of when to hold a look, when to break, when to give the other space to burn. The instant her remarks surfaced, social platforms erupted. One comment landed everywhere: "You can see in Elçin's eyes how much she values him." Another said that what's being praised isn't just skill, it's an on-set exchange that's feeding the story in the best possible way. And inevitably, a handful insisted there must be more. It's the classic divide, those who accept genuine admiration at face value, and those who suspect every compliment is a breadcrumb leading to scandal. So let's talk about Barış himself. He's having one of those runs actors dream about, the era where every role reveals a new chamber of his range. Think of the chill of Kuzgun, the epic intensity of Alparslan, and now the brooding sophistication of Eşref Rüya. He knows how to shift his energy. Off camera, he's reserved, observant. When the slate snaps, he sharpens into focus like the frame itself tightens around him. What we've been hearing from the set is that Elçin will sometimes pull him aside between takes. She'll ask, "Do you feel this beat lands? Would you turn toward or away here?" It's a conversation that doesn't look dramatic, but it fuels the fire you see on screen. When one lead inspires the other, the audience feels it without being told. Now about those rumors. The talk of a clash on set started with a vague post and grew legs overnight. It's always the same, a whisper becomes a headline. But last night, Elçin didn't tiptoe around it. There is no wall between them, no hurt held in silence. People close to the production echo the same story. They get on well, they keep things light when the material is heavy, they borrow each other's playlists while they wait for lighting tweaks, and they grab quick coffee when there's a breather. Her bright, spontaneous presence fits right beside his thoughtful quiet. The contrast makes their scenes hum. And where is the story of Nisan and Eşref headed? If you're sensing the emotional temperature climbing, you're right. Word is, the next batch of episodes will stretch them further, hitting nerves that have only been hinted at until now. We've heard that the sequences where Eşref faces his oldest fear are some of the show's most powerful, and Elçin's choices as Nisan push those moments to the edge of breathlessness. That's when chemistry matters most, when the stakes are high and both actors trust the other to go deeper without flinching. Fans are dissecting every micro-expression under the hashtag #EşrefRüya tag. They've clipped and rewatched, they've compared interviews from earlier seasons to now, and they've drawn their own conclusions. One viewer wrote that the trust is visible in the softness of her smile when his name comes up. Another argued that this is simply two seasoned artists who know the value of the partnership. A few skeptics suggest the compliments are a savvy move to draw more heat to the show, but quite frankly, you can't manufacture that ease in the way they speak in silence. Respect can be staged in words, perhaps, but it can't be staged in the eyes. Crew sources talk about the rehearsals. Before cameras roll, they'll run the scene quietly, stripping it to the bone, finding the cadence that feels truest. Sometimes the director watches them settle into it and tells them they've found a private rhythm only they can hear. Elçin has been especially vocal about how precise Barış can be. Give him a line, and he'll turn it ever so slightly until the truth shows up. Not louder, just clearer. She admires that, and it shows. Of course, the glossy magazines took the loudest angle possible. Headlines asked whether tenderness on set was turning into something more. But if you actually listen to what was said, there's no hidden confession in it. There's admiration, there's gratitude, there's the glow that happens when talent meets preparation and the work lands. The screen doesn't lie. When these two share it, the light tightens, and the world outside the frame goes quiet. Something else stood out last night, the maturity in Elçin's voice. Over the years, she's become more grounded in how she speaks to the noise around a project. There's no defensiveness, no rushed denial. She stated, with calm certainty, that harmony rules the set and that respect is the real currency between them. If you've followed her career, you've seen that growth, the wisdom to answer the question without feeding the frenzy. Everyone is now waiting to see if Barış will respond. He's famously private, not one to linger in corridors of gossip. Still, he's never been stingy with appreciation. If he says anything at all, expect something simple and weighty, that Elçin is a partner who makes him better, that they carry the story together. It's the sort of reply that will explode across timelines not because it's sensational, but because it confirms what the audience already knows. And so here we are, surrounded by think pieces and threads and hot takes, all because one actress decided to speak plainly. Elçin's message cut through the fog: there is no feud, no distance, only collaboration. If you're looking for drama, you'll find it in the script, where Nisan and Eşref wrestle the ghosts that won't let them sleep. If you're looking for the truth behind the set, it's quieter and, in many ways, more beautiful. What do you think? Were those words strictly professional, or did they carry an intimate respect that comes from walking into hard scenes together and coming out the other side? Tell me in the comments. I read them, and I love seeing how closely you watch the work. Before we wrap, remember this: chemistry is not a rumor, it's a craft. It looks like stealing a breath at the same moment. It sounds like giving a pause back to your partner so the emotion can land. It feels like safety. That's what you're sensing between Elçin and Barış, and that's why Eşref Rüya keeps holding you past the credits. Stick with us here at Secrets Behind the Stars for more of the stories beneath the shine, and don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and come back for the next reveal. Until then, keep your eyes open and your heart ready, because the next episode is coming, the stakes are rising, and this partnership isn't done dazzling you yet. If you've followed them since their earliest days together, you already know why this moment hits different. They have weathered hype cycles, trend waves, and endless commentary, but what remains is the work itself, the looks that melt into truth, the hands that hesitate and then reach, the confessions that tremble but do not break. That's the language they speak best, and it's the one that keeps us all coming back. So here's the final word for tonight. No grudges. No walls. Just two artists choosing trust, scene after scene, and letting the results speak louder than any rumor ever could.